morena cielito lindo e vienen bajando un par de ojitos negros cielito lindo de contrabando.
As we come together today to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Jerusalem's liberation and reunification during the Six-Day War, we must remember these facts, and also how there are those who seek to erase the city's Jewish and Christian history. This past October, UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization Executive Board, voted for a resolution whose very language stripped Jerusalem, stripped the Temple Mount and the Western Wall of their Jewish names. By perverting the past, the resolution's proponents, authoritarian regimes such as Algeria, Iran, Qatar, Sudan, and Russia, believe they can subvert the future. They had not counted on one individual's refusal to be cowed into compliance. Andrés Roemer, then the Mexican ambassador to UNESCO, knowingly risked his position to voice and vote his conscience, leaving the voting hall rather than casting a vote as he had been directed by his government in favor of the resolution. While the resolution still passed, and Ambassador Roemer was recalled and subsequently removed from his post, his moral courage convinced several countries, including his own, to seek to reverse the resolution's pernicious position on historical truth and the possibility of peace. In a subsequent vote, which took place more recently on Israel's Independence Day, Mexico, for the first time in many years, abstained. Another victory for the now former diplomat. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to speak to you today and to be part of this amazing moment in history to celebrate the courage of Ambassador Roemer to be able to stand in a time where there was a lot of hostility and opposition to the decision that was expected to be made. So I'd like to personally thank Ambassador Roemer for that. Thank you so much. And I want to be able to stress also the need for us to follow in his footsteps. In his case, he needed to walk away, but in our case, sometimes we need to walk into. And what I'm talking about is the much neglected need for us to build stronger bonds between the Jewish and Latino communities. You know, I grew up in Washington Heights. As it was mentioned, I grew up here in New York. And I remember learning about Yeshiva University when I was in elementary school, and learning about a community that lived across the street from Broadway Avenue, which up until a couple of years ago, I didn't interact with. So I think that there is a big void there that we haven't taken advantage, and I don't know, we're trying to pinpoint the exact reasons for it, but I think that we've taken for granted for a very long time the support that Latinos have had for the Jewish people and Israel.
Jerusalem is the most renowned city of the ancient world. But it's not only the ancient world, it's the most renowned city really throughout history. I don't know of any other city which is depicted. There was a map, one of the early maps that was made, the Madaba map, has Jerusalem like a rectangle or an oval with 135 gates and so on. And he says that is the center of the universe. So Jerusalem really is a mystical city, it's a spiritual city, and that is why in some of the later Jewish literature it became also more or less a heavenly future city. So Jerusalem. And I remember Avir Harim, Salul Khayyayim, Reya Foranim,
Al Yoshevet, Uvei Bachoma, Yerushalayim, Shel Zahav, Veshenet.
What Ambassador Roemer did surrounding the recent UNESCO votes was totally in line with our mission, bringing attention to true history, importance of and religious claims of the Jewish people to Jerusalem. He is full of life, humor, and endless energy, and wanting to contribute to mankind. And listen to this, he's not a politician or a civil servant. Ambassador Roemer is a lawyer, an economist, an author of many inspiring books, a playwright with 2 award-winning plays. He's a television personality leading a talk show at home in Mexico with one of the major networks. Ambassador Roemer has founded recognized think tanks in line with TED Talks, the most famous being City of Ideas. He has also served as Mexico's Consul General in San Francisco. Looking back, Andrés Roemer has a PhD in public policy from the Goldman School of Public Policy of the University of California at Berkeley, where he earned the academic distinction for his thesis regarding water public policies. He earned a master's in public administration from the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard. He specialized on cultural policies, law and economic and evolutionary psychology. He's a member of several economic, public policy and cultural organizations in the United States, Mexico, Latin America, and Europe. I could go on, but I've really made this abbreviated presentation of his background. But I want you to know something that I'm very impressed with. Is in all his degrees at Berkeley, Harvard, everywhere, he always earned them summa cum laude. Isn't it? Finally, to add to this very Jewish resume, he's the grandson of a Viennese conductor who escaped from the Nazis. An a quaint fact for us New Yorkers is that he is related to Art Buchwald, someone whom we miss greatly for his humor and great writings, amongst others in the International Herald Tribune. So I think I've proven my case to you tonight that Andrés Roemer is a true Renaissance man that will continue to make many more contributions to the betterment of man, conveying truth as well as new creative ways of thinking. Ambassador Roemer, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the American Sephardi Federation, Jason and I, and my fellow board members that are here, I'd like to personally thank you for the very important impact you've had on the issue of the true history of Jerusalem, the claims to it by the Jewish people, but also its relevance to Christians and Muslims. You have single-handedly helped move the debate back in the right direction, influencing several countries' votes, including your own in recent past, but surely many more votes to come in the future. So please come up here and join me to receive our prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award and our heartfelt thanks for your important contribution to the Jewish community.
I'm very grateful for this recognition from my heart, but it's also the celebration of 50 years of a lot of work and a lot of effort. I am a very passionate person for culture and art. I am a very, very strongly promoter of science. I really love the mission of UNESCO. And I knew that part of its mandate was not to do anything related with this kind of political issues, but to actually protect the cultural heritage of everyone, of all the traditions. But I thought, if I face this kind of resolution, I think that not probably in April, but probably next October, next April or next October, I could convince, if I have the arguments, and start changing what it hasn't been done correctly. Because I knew that the last 12 times, all our history, Mexico always voted against Israel. If we really want to transform society, and that's what I mentioned at UNESCO, it won't be through these kinds of resolutions that bring walls. It won't be through divisions or drones or weapons. No. The only way to really transform society for better, it will come through critical thinking, through empathy, through questions about yourself, that you don't believe everything you think. The only way actually to transform humanity will be through dangerous ideas and through ideas that do not follow the flow just to follow it, because it has been that way that it has been forever. Any resolution or policy or declaration that neglects, erases, diminishes, sees any Muslim, Christian, or Jew tradition undermines the integrity of humanity as a whole. The price of critical thinking is pretty high. But if you don't act, if you don't obey sometimes, if you question the status quo, if you do what you think and you know that it's correct, probably that will be the only way to change the world for better.
Yeah, I have 3 concerts today. Now please join us for the reception outside. Thank you.